Russia claims its soldiers are nearing the capture of a salt mining town in eastern Ukraine. Russia said Thursday that its forces are getting closer to taking a salt mining town in eastern Ukraine. A success that would come at the expense of severe Russian fatalities and extensive destruction of the territory they claim. Donetsk Governor Pavlo Kirilenko stated on television that more than 100 Russian servicemen have been killed in the struggle for Soledar in the last 24 hours. The Russians literally marched on the bodies of their own men, destroying everything in their path, Kirilenko said. Adding that Russian forces had shelled a dozen towns and villages in the region the day before. Russian forces are bombarding Soledar with mortars and rockets. Battling for a breakthrough after military failures turned what the Kremlin anticipated would be a quick win into a grinding battle of attrition that has stretched on for over 11 months with no end in sight. Civilians are attempting to survive in the midst of that massacre as the Russians press their attacks, Kirilenko said. Soldar's defeat would be a prize for a Kremlin that has been starved of good military news in recent months, having lost the important city of Kherson in December. It would also serve as a springboard for Russian troops to take over other sections of the eastern Donetsk province that are still under Ukrainian control, including the neighboring key city of Bakhmut. The Russian strategy in the attack on Soledar is to send 1 or 2 waves of soldiers, many of whom are from the private Russian military contractor Wagner Group, who take severe casualties as they probe Ukrainian lines, according to a Ukrainian officer near Soledar. When Ukrainian troops are fatigued and incur casualties, the Russians send in another wave of highly trained soldiers, paratroopers, or special forces to gain a new foothold on the battlefield. According to the Ukrainian officer, who requested anonymity for security reasons. Dmitry Peskov, a Kremlin spokesperson, commended Russian troops' selfless and heroic effort, which he said is allowing them to advance in Soledar. In Soledar, massive work has been done, he remarked. Peskov, on the other hand, stopped short of verifying Wagner Group owner Yevgeny Prigozhin's brag about seizing Soledar on Wednesday. There is still a lot to accomplish, and it's too early to stop and rub our hands. The primary job is yet ahead, he remarked during a press conference. Fighting raged on in other parts of Ukraine. Kyrylo Tymoshenko, the deputy head of Ukraine's presidential office, stated Thursday that 2 civilians were killed and 8 others were injured in Russian attacks on Wednesday. According to Tymoshenko, 1 civilian was killed and 5 were injured in the southern Kherson province, where shells hit a maternity hospital, private dwellings, and apartment buildings, while 1 person was murdered in Donetsk. 2 civilians were injured in the southeastern Zaporizhia province, while 1 civilian was injured in the southeastern Dnipropetrovsk province.